Hello you lovely people, welcome to my channel, welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. My name's Kirsten, this is where I art and craft, and today we're on the final week of Seek, Gather, Create. And the words for this week are dark blue, gain peace, vintage, dip it. I've got my envelope and I'm going to do my envelope slightly different this time, I think. I'm going to do it so that it can be stuck on a page like that and then opened up, but more about the opening up later. And I'm going to stick this on the inside. If I stick that right at the top, I can get San Martin will be on it. And I'm going to have the whole thing opening up. And this is my vintage. This is a vintage magazine book thing that this is actually a jelly print that didn't quite work out as I intended. I was just cleaning the plate off like that, and I just had a pile of these papers. Didn't realise this was in the pile of papers, but look at it. Pulled it off the plate because I just went right and then went but it's yeah, maybe because it's San Martin's. If I was doing a yellow pool, it would have been nicer, but so we're going to use that. I think that's maybe seafoam, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick it on the inside of here. So I'm going to do that so that then can dry. Just using my matte medium for that. Let's just get this all over here. And what I'm hoping is, I'm hoping these corners will fit on those flaps there. I've got this bit of tissue paper, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to dip it in some ink, and I'm going to use, I've got the blue out, and then I thought, actually I've got this for the blue, the indigo, and that's more royal blue anyway, so I decided that I would use green, and this is sap green Liquitex. Let's just add some water to that. Put it over. Now the thing is, this parchment sheet isn't actually waterproof, so it will soak through, so I need to get a move on. Right, and then I'm just going to dip the ink of this. This is very thin tissue paper, so I'm hoping that it will transfer up very quickly. What I actually need to do, capillary action, Kirsten, you need to wet the thing you want it to. So I'm going to pick that up and just put it back down again, because there's a bit there that's not got really much on it. Oh, didn't really mean to do that. That's alright. Dip that in again. Little. I'm not sure how I'm going to use this, but it means that I've done the dip bit. I've dipped that paper in that ink. That's the dip bit done. Okay, so I've got some more vintage bits. I'm going to make a card for going inside the envelope. I've also got some more dipping, because she is dipping in the sea. And I'm just going to stick these bits on here. Yep, I'm just going to do that. think that's all I want to do on that with the collage-y stuff. I just need to decide which bits I want to use. So I could almost use that bit and then that bit as well. But I think actually I'm going to use these top bits just because that's got the Sand Martin. Oh, that's from there. So I still did manage to get that. Oh look, I wasn't quite at the top of that. That's annoying. So we better put a wee bit on the top of that. Just to, we could re-round the corner, couldn't we? Let's re-round the corner bigger. That's a 4. If we give it a 7, we'll get rid of that top bit. There we go. That was easy fix, wasn't it? Time I ink it, there's still a tiny bit there, but by the time I ink it, won't notice that. Let's get back to doing what I'm supposed to be doing. The thing is with this one leaves a bit of white, so maybe I'll use this one here. That one works all right, doesn't it? Put that one there. So maybe we'll use this one on this side as well then. And put that one on there. There'll be a little bit of white showing on that one, so let's use this one. We'll use that one on there. And if we use this one on here, because it's a bigger one, it'll hide that white that's on there. Shows you I didn't quite have it centered, but that's okay. That's going to fit in there. That's fitting on there. Right, I'll see there's some more bits here I didn't manage to get, never mind. I'm just going to use the glue stick on these ones. Tear and share. Let's just maybe just use a, see it doesn't, I was just going to put vintage paper on the outside of this. Oh, well I could put this on, here, couldn't I? Get some more vintage. need to leave that to dry. There's a lot of, I've discovered that with most of these ones I've done for seed gathering clay, there's been a lot of drying. Leaving it to dry, leave it to dry, leave it to dry. Is this dry now? No, not totally, but I could trim it. Let's trim it. Now, I don't think I want the border of this, but it's very hard tearing photo as well. So I'm going to use, this is thinning scissors. I'm just going to use them to give it a kind of stamp-like edge. And we need to think about what we might put this on. The bit I'm looking for, I bet I can't find, because that's the way these things usually go, don't they? Oh, there's a thought. This wasn't what I was thinking for, but we could put a bit, because this is another bit of vintage, and this is like the place where she was. Yes, let's do that. Let's do that. So this is where she's paddling, dipping. You could say this was indigo, couldn't I? I could say this bit here was indigo. It's indigo print. Right, should we put a bit of this behind her? Right, I think I'm going to round these corners. Right, let's ink that. Just something. Even if it's only a rusty paper clip. I might just put a rusty paper clip on it there. Or here. Here. And then that means I can pin other things to it if I want. Oh, I'm just wondering now though if that will still fit in. Well, if it doesn't fit in the envelope when we come to putting it in the envelope, then we'll just take it out off again. Okay, that's that done. How's my envelope doing? My envelope's still quite damp. We've got my journaling card to go in my envelope. We've got vintage, there's lots of vintage on here and lots of vintage on here. We dipped this tissue paper in. Oh, I did this, sorry, without you seeing. Because I just suddenly thought, oh, I'm going to staple some bits of the material onto the bits of tissue paper and then stick them on, because I couldn't staple them through. Originally it was just going to try and staple some bits of, I quite like the way it just gives it a wee bit of a lift, and it's also using the blue, which would be nice to use. So I've got vintage, I've got dark blue, I've got dark blue indigo, I've got dip and dip. One thing that isn't on here yet is the game piece. Now I had to just, you might have noticed I've trimmed that down because I had to trim it down because it didn't quite fit in here with the tied knot, and I just thought, do you know what, I quite like that wee knot on there, so I'm just going to, just need to make sure it sits that way around. So I'm just going to trim it. See, it just about fits in now. So it's not going to sit in like an envelope, but I was never thinking of this being an envelope. I was always thinking of this being opened up so you could see that whole bit down below. That was the whole point. I do think though this is still maybe just a wee bit sticky outy. I could take it round and have it more in the front, and then it fits in better. So for the game piece, what I decided was I've got a counter from a game of Mahjong, and I thought if I sewed through here, if I sew in here and put a loop on here, how was I going to do this again? Oh yeah, I've got to make a hole here for one of these. There we are. I was originally thinking of doing a thingy thread. See that this is shiny, that's the trouble, but it's thicker, so it's going to go through easier without ending up being, see, then that goes through there. I need a kind of toggle thing then to pull it tight once that's through. So, but it's also got to make sure it doesn't go through the toggle. So let's cut this. Let's work out the mechanics. Do we need to do, oh, I've got another one of those game pieces. I've got several of them actually. But I could actually use this as the thing that holds, that slides backwards and forwards, couldn't I? That holds down. Where does that need to go? It needs to go underneath there. So it needs to go, I put that underneath there. It needs to go about there, doesn't it? Right, so we need, I'm just going to use glossy accents, because glossy accents, I have discovered, it's very good at sticking things. Oh no, I've got to keep that under there. That'd be very silly because I don't think I'd be able to get it back under there afterwards, would I? You know what's coming next, don't you? I'm going to have to leave this to dry. I think the other thing though I might do is, I've got out these washers for something else actually. If I've got one that was gonna, I kind of wish I'd use that instead. And then just a thingy on the other side. Let that one sit on, I see that will sit on there. That will just make that, look at that. Doesn't that make that better? So let's just glossy accents this in place as well. And that just fits beautifully over that. There we go. Right, I'm going to have to go and wait and let things dry again, and then I'll show you the finished thing once things have dried. So here we go, we finished. And I decided, because of this game piece being from a mahjong, to make a kind of oriental style tassel. These are paper beads that I made, and they've just got a bit of gold on them as well. There's another paper bead, I'll take this out. Another paper bead either side of this second game piece to stop the string going through that game piece, but you've got to also put your piece in there to stop it going through when you've got it off, because then you could take it becomes a wee bit complicated. I thought about tying another knot, and then I just thought there was a lot of knots if I did that, so it's only me that's going to be using it anyway. And we open it up and we have our inside with our sand martins, which remind me of my holiday when we saw loads of sand martins. And we've got one kind of dip here, and we dipped this tissue paper, so that's the second kind of dip. Lots of vintage, it's all kind of vintage. The photos vintage, the maps vintage, the papers all the way around are vintage. We've got our indigo blue in the type of this receipt, in the printing of this receipt, in the fabric. And this is just, so this can be written on, extra things can be clipped on the back. And then there's more vintage, more of everything on the front here, even vintage staples and our game piece. And you just, I'm trying to do this at a funny angle because I'm filming, so it does go straight through there, I can assure you. If I bring it up, then I'll be able to put it, see, when you can bring it up and see what you're doing, it goes straight through. And then that goes through there, and then we pull the toggle, push that back up there, and that's quite secure. Really enjoyed this seat gathering create. Your details are all down below. August is over, but that doesn't stop you going back and using the prompts if you want to. Thank you so much for watching. You take care. Bye for now. Keep crafting.